Hi everyone, I wanted to post a video on the subject of extinction graphs and drink diaries. I've had some recent correspondence that's been quite interesting. Basically just a little bit of criticism around the fact that with my own drink diaries and extinction graph and with a recent article which I collaborated upon with a gentleman called Dominic, a most interesting gentleman who happens to be a Polish expat living in the UK. Looking at our graphs and our drink diaries, they're quite impressive, but they perhaps don't best represent the experience for everyone with the Sinclair method, because whilst when you look at some forums you do see these glorious extinction graphs and they look very impressive and everything, you sort of have to bear in mind the impact that might have upon someone who has a different story, who is having a rougher ride with the treatment, for whom there's more peaks and troughs along the way, and it's a much longer sustained commitment. And after this first comment, which I in fact got on the article itself, it got me thinking a good deal, because I thought, fair play, fair play to the criticism which I got there, that perhaps for the sake of balance, I do need to show a different picture, on my blog. I need to sort of represent other people's experience. So what I would like to put forward with this video is an invitation for people to get in touch with me, either through my website or contacting me through the comments section on this YouTube video, and just to tell me a story. And if you like to post me your own drink diaries and extinction graphs, what I'm looking for, people's experiences, both good, bad and indifferent with this, because I've been sort of putting myself out there for over 5.5 years now with the Sinclair method, and I do think that balance is important. I think integrity is important, and I do think that we shouldn't be afraid to reflect the reality that it's not perfect for everyone, and that some people need a little bit of support, and that they may need extra things, so they may need a little bit of a tweak with the dosage for the medication, or they may need a little bit of extra coaching and encouragement, or they may need other therapies and stuff, because we're all quite different. We all have different bodies, different metabolisms. Our brains are all unique. So there's that. I think also another thing is just that, as I say, I've been at this for over 5.5 years now, and even before I started the Sinclair method, I was very, very involved, with a lot of addiction themed forums. So I was still struggling with my own addiction, but sort of a member of different groups and talking on them for a long time. So the whole social media shtick I've been at for over 10 years now, and I fear that I've exhausted my observations on a lot of subjects, and I also worry that people are sort of getting a little bit sick to death of the sight of me, and just hearing my voice. And this is why I'm quite happy to invite other people, and invite new people to carry the baton, and it's just new voices are important. I look at Katie and her wonderful YouTube channel, and what she's done in a year and a half, and it just puts a song in my heart, you know, seeing new voices like that, and that's what I would like to do. I would like to send out a warm invitation to other people to get involved and to do guest articles on my blog. And you know what? I'm just happy to sit in the background and let you guys have fun and just to tell you stories and yeah, I think that would be cool. So what else? Right, I've got this little auto cue here because I've got this terribly absent mind. Right. Yeah. Right. A question that often comes up from people, which I would just like to address, is around why it is that I in fact don't take part in many addiction themed Facebook groups anymore, why I seem to have walked away from a lot of stuff, and why I'm just about never seen or heard of on message boards and stuff. Well, again, it goes back to the fact that I've been at this for quite a long time, and perhaps fatigue has set in a little bit. And I think also as well, I think also, you know, it's not anything personal. It's not that I feel like I'm better than these other people who do get a lot out of these groups, and I do think that they're absolutely wonderful. It's just that it's just that, as I think I just said, I've exhausted my observations on a lot of stuff, and when I see the, you know, disease concept of alcoholism versus free will debate come up for like the 50th time, there's only so many ways that I can answer that at the same time differently before it starts feeling like freaking Groundhog Day, and just a lot of the same type of subjects come up. I mean, there's a lot of identity politics, I feel, and I don't want to be overly critical about this because I do hear people on this, you know, and I do think nomenclature is important, but I think sometimes, you know, if someone makes a bit of a slip and uses a word that's verboten. I mean, one of the biggest flames I think in the harm reduction community is the use of the word alcoholism or alcoholic. You know, that's just like, you know, red to a bull for many people. But I just worry sometimes that it gets things a little bit off track, and that you know, I think. I mean, whilst I think some of the indignation which I see is quite genuine, you know, when people come in and say, well, excuse me, but you know, let's be more correct about our speech. I also think that a little bit of like virtue signalling, shall we say, sort of comes in there, you know, a little bit of manufactured indignation. And that sort of, it doesn't tick me off, but it gets a little bit tiresome sometimes. So there is that, and anyway, so there's that, and plus also, I mean, I was just recently talking to my good friend, the addictions blogger Michael Dempsey, who runs the wonderful Recovering from Recovery website. And I think we're both in a little bit of a similar place in that we're both people with quite eclectic interests. You know, we have outside lives, and it's kind of like good to take a break from stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I will sort of make a bit of a splash in the future on more forums. Maybe I will have more engagement with that, but right now I sort of want to catch up on a few things. I want to do some work on my lifestyle, because for a number of years now I've had issues with obesity, and though I've done a lot to correct that, you know, I've made a lot of changes to my diet and try to keep in shape. So I've gone from 250 pounds to, I think, just around like the 200 mark. The things could still be better, and I could still lose a bit more just to make a nice tweak. And also I have other interests aside from that, so I read loads of stuff on IT, and you know, I'm quite a big like comics enthusiast. I'm quite into art and things, so there is that. Yeah, just I'd like to come back to something which I just actually was talking about, and I've just thought about it now, and it has to do with that disease versus choice chestnut. And one of the things I will say is that when I actually look at a lot of the forums, I do feel that society is sort of losing, you know, the ability to sort of, people in society are sort of losing the ability to make nuanced arguments a little bit. We're, you know, falling into the trap of the two narrative paradigm and being quite polarized about a lot of things. Because my take, I mean, just to express my own sort of personal view on that argument, is that I'm not a determinist, but I sort of come at things from a compatibilist point of view. So whilst I do think that there's biological forces, there's appetite, you know, I also take the other view, because I sort of believe in agency, I believe in free will. But the thing is, when you talk about will, you sort of have to be careful, because I really don't believe that everyone has the same amount of willpower necessarily as other people. And when it came to my own addiction, it was like my willpower was a finite resource, which is why the Sinclair Method was an absolute blessing to me. So whilst I never looked at myself as powerless, and I never looked at myself as one of these fucking red shirts from Star Trek, you know, doomed or anything, the fact is that this treatment that was able to directly address the craving and turn the clock back, it worked wonders for me. So I've just about come to the end of it, I think. Thanks for checking in, and bye for now.